Hey everyone, welcome to You, Me, and a Fence Post, the podcast with a sibling's perspective around farming, family, friends, and a whole lot of other random topics. I'm Clint Chaffin.
And I'm Tara Schrock. And today we're going to jump in the Wayback Machine and talk about life before some of the technology as we know it.
Things our kids won't ever understand.
Ever.
And today's episode is brought to you by Farmer Scott's Premium Popcorn, your local popcorn authority.
Mr. Scott Trimble, he's a popcorn farmer in Illinois, and I've gotten to know him over some time on Twitter, and he sent us a care package to try. And one of my favorites is we did an episode on Never Have I Ever?
Yeah.
And we both have never tried fruitcake. So thank you, Mr. Scott Trimble, for your delicious popcorn and also for this Southern Supreme fruitcake. We are officially going to check this off our Never Have I Ever list.
So here's the fruitcake. Buddy, welcome back to You, Me, and a Fence Post. Tara, what'd you think of the fruitcake?
I loved it.
That was fantastic.
Loved it, and I was actually dreading it. So I want to give another huge shout out because Scott told me he found this place and it's a fruitcake that he loves. It's Southern Supreme, and they are the Scott family out of Bear Creek, North Carolina.
Hats off. Delicious.
Look it up and check out Mr. Popcorn Guy too.
Yeah. Well, hey, jumping into today's episode, so we're jumping in the Wayback Machine. I think it's hard to talk about technology changing without just talking about phones.
I would agree. Phones are probably the leader, I guess, that has taken away a lot of the things our kids will never know because they're kind of a computer now, too. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, could you imagine, just starting with our smartphone, could you imagine not having your smartphone now?
No. But I also, when I visit the farm, and we have landlines out there, and my kids would not know how to operate a landline phone. They really would look at it because
you have to dial 1 first.
And, they don't know numbers because numbers are in our phones now. And so my kids would, if I gave them a payphone and said, dial, aside from 911, they would not know how to operate.
I have a personal phone and a work phone. And I still have to look at my email signature at work to remember my work phone number because I'm so terrible at phone numbers. And you don't have to remember them anymore.
No, you definitely do not at all. So
yeah. So one of the things that I'd also look at just on that whole phone side. So you talked about landlines. Do you remember, Tara, out of the farm? We went from a rotary phone.
Yes.
To the phone that I'm going to say that you and Brandy had the cord stretched out so bad, from dragging it into the other room.
Yeah, and these were days, too, where kids don't realize only one person could be on the phone, and we did not have caller ID or call waiting. That's it.
Mom, hang up the phone. I'm talking to my friend.
And if somebody else picked up the phone, that's always how you spied on your siblings. Like, who are they talking to? But
it's not the only way you could spy on your siblings because then the next step we got, you remember those cordless phones that we got?
Oh, yeah, with the big antenna. That
you could basically sword fight with these things. Like an antenna that was 3 foot long, But what was hilarious is Dad got me walkie-talkies for, I don't know, probably one of the Christmases or birthdays, and it was on the same frequency as our cordless phones. So if I ever wanted to spy on my sisters, you just turn on the radio.
There you go. Normally there was a fight before that on who was getting the phone next. So there was a list. So.
Yeah, it's just funny as you think about that. So you have these, the landlines at home, but also think of the times that we were standing in Westmere High School, right? And the payphone's there, and you need a ride from volleyball practice or whatever that you're doing.
Okay, so this is, and maybe this is just how poor we were or something. I don't really know, but I remember I was to call. Collect, let it ring once and hang up. And that was Mom and Dad's signal to that somebody was ready to be picked up.
That was the early days. They finally got me. I think I had a AT&T prepaid phone card.
Yeah.
Well, I'd also do the thing where they would say, I think the phone companies finally changed this, but you would they would say record your name after the beep, right? Mm-hmm. And then you would go, hurry up and pick me up at school. Beep. That way they knew what to do there. So,
well, the same thing though with when it comes to the whole smartphone technology now, and my kids can't read a map or an atlas, or if I gave them a map and said
the old Rand McNally's,
they would not know how to navigate.
Tara, now here's the thing. I'm good at directions, and I'm fairly good at like reading like.
This is his story.
No, it is. I'm good at directions. I don't know though anymore if I could just pop open an atlas and just be like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go, family.
I think it would be challenging, but I think that's, honestly, that's because we've gotten so used to it. And now with the built-in compasses of the truck, I don't even pay attention to what direction. If I know that I want to go south, I'm like, yep, that's where I'm headed. So.
Yeah, no, it's interesting on that technology, how it's just literally, it's almost killed the whole map side of it, right?
Yeah.
But even our phones have almost taken over. I'm going to say a few years ago, you probably had a TomTom or a Garmin or something of that nature. And even now, it's like, I don't like using them because they're usually outdated.
Out of date, yes.
All of a sudden your exit's not there because it doesn't have the updated maps. I mean, your phone's just way too easy.
It is, but it's taken away all the fun stuff. I mean, look at what it does for music.
Yelling
now.
at each other in the car because you missed your exit? Like, that's not fun. Like, come
look
on
what
now.
it's done to music, though. I mean, now you just pull up whatever you want, and you don't have the cassette tapes that you used to play and record all day trying to catch your new favorite song. Our kids do not understand the struggles that we went through.
That would be, you would fill up an entire tape, again on Power 98.9, and you would record it on your boombox, just hoping to catch your favorite song.
Absolutely. The same thing though with VHS. MTV videos right here.
MTV played videos?
They did at one point in time, and our kids will never know that either. That was like the cool kids were on top of it if they saw the new MC Hammer video.
Oh, wow. Okay. Out of all the music videos that you could have chose to say right there, you went to MC Hammer.
Well, Hammer time.
We may edit this out. I don't know. We may have to take another shot of this.
So this was also before VHS recorders had that you could program them to come on at a certain time. So I would literally just start recording and hopefully catch, the
before you
segments
run out of tape.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
See the struggles?
Well, the other thing too, I remember this. You would also had a finite number of VHS tapes laying around the house that you could record on, right? So it's like, did you record over my movie? And it's like, here we go.
That always caused me a lot of stress because I was a huge 90210 fan. And if
course
anybody
you were.
messed with my 90210 VHS tapes and recorded something over them, my blood was boiling.
Yeah. I probably was the cause of that blood boiling several times. So, no, it's music's the other funny thing though too is looking at you mentioned cassette tapes, so that's always fun. You talk the old school thing of making your girlfriend or your boyfriend a mixtape. You remember all that, right?
Like little love songs.
But then it transformed into CDs.
Yes.
I mean, that was like a huge revelation when we got to have CD players.
Huge. And then think about when we could start burning our own CDs.
Yeah, but before we got to the burning, though, I want to go back to how crappy CD players were, especially when you lived in Mercer County on gravel roads. If you were lucky enough to get a CD player put into your truck or your car, it skipped. I mean, every pebble you hit, it just started skipping.
It would. And do you remember I'll say, I guess, well-to-do kids maybe, or the kids I was always jealous of, they had the multi-disc changers.
Oh, yeah, like the 6-disc CD changers. Yeah, they had like a cartridge that would go in there. Yeah.
I was always so jealous because I was never one of those kids.
No, we had if you remember, I had my 91 S10 is what I drove. You had that little Mustang. Both of them were like 5 speeds. I didn't even have air conditioner or power steering in mine. But we had the Discman with the cord with the cassette tape.
Yes.
That was right uptown.
It's mainstreaming it right there.
Oh yeah. As I think though, like some of the other fun things, especially as I started thinking about my little truck. I wish I could find that thing. It was a beautiful little truck. But
No, it was not.
It probably wasn't. It was probably way cooler in my head. But the other thing on that was we always use CB radios as well.
Yeah.
So like we'd roll in to cruise the loop, right? And we'd roll in and it's like, hey, Breaker 19, this is the Red Baron. Where you at, Hollywood? And that's how you found your buddies. Where you at?
Yeah, and so that actually is interesting. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she has no idea like what cruising the loop means. And she's mortified whenever I cruise the loop in our little small town of Aledo, because that's where it was, popular to go by, Central Square and down by McDonald's. And it was cruising the loop. And we actually had to find our friends that way.
Yeah.
We didn't have any other way. Even when you left your house, you dialed your landline, your best friend on your landline, and said, okay, I'm leaving now. And then you didn't associate again until you found each other.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was what you should have had CBs. That's what you should have had. We got that figured out.
Your friends did. My friends did not think, even my FM radio in my Mustang, they didn't think that was cool. So.
Well, you just readjust what's cool. That's it, Well, you also talked about these phones being more of a computer nowadays than they are a phone, right?
Absolutely.
But one of the funny things I like to look back on that kids definitely do not understand nowadays is saving things on a floppy disk, right?
Do they even know how to hit save? I think everything's auto save now, right?
Oh, I would, yeah.
No matter what. Part. I've never seen.
That's the other thing. You know how many times an application's crashed and you lost all your work because it didn't auto save?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is about a floppy disk, so those little 2.5-inch drives, it is the save icon. Still today.
It is.
Right? And I don't think the kids have a single clue what that icon actually is. It's like, well, yeah, that's why you saved it on a floppy drive.
I know, but think about how many times you spent hours typing up papers and it wasn't there.
Oh.
Like there was an error with the floppy drive.
So you want to talk about, I watched like people fall apart at Western Illinois University. I worked for their IT department, right, when I was going to school, and my sole job was to recover disk that had failed, right? Which, because those little things failed all the time, constantly. And you had people walking in like with their master thesis, and they're like, "How much can you recover?" And it's like, a page, and it's in Wingdings. So sorry. Hopefully you know how to read Wingdings.
Yep, you're kind of out of luck on that one.
You're definitely out of luck. Yeah. What about dial-up internet?
Oof, I don't miss those days.
Actually, you're still like on dial-up,
I'm pretty
aren't you?
much in the dinosaur age over here. You're lucky where you live that you can get kind of high speed, but I do not have that luxury where I live.
Yeah.
So it's a step up from dial-up, though. So we're getting there.
Yeah. I just remember it was funny because when you could download music illegally off of
what was that?
Napster?
Yeah.
Yeah. Napster, and then like LimeWire, and I don't know, there's a handful of
You
them.
were big on that, and Dad got mad at you because like you were using too much or something.
Oh yeah, I was probably using all of our internet and probably putting viruses on absolutely everything that we had. But I would literally start a song like at the beginning of the week in hopes that it would be like downloaded at the end of the week. Oh man, those were the days though.
Well, sometimes I'm still like that. Like I say, I live in Bedrock. Me and back in the Flintstone days.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's just part of it, So.
So from a TV standpoint, though, I remember growing up and using the bunny ears and antennas and trying to put tin foil over it in order to get
tin
signal.
Foil, or you're like holding it and like Dad's like, yeah, right there, hold it right there. Don't move it. Yeah. No, it's actually funny. We actually just in this household, believe it or not, went back to air antenna.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I cut the cord. We do nothing but streaming, and then I got a DVR that records over the air. Look at that, kicking it back old school here in the Chaffer household. Yeah.
Okay, well, we do not do that. We do not have an antenna.
Yeah, it's free TV, Tara. Free TV.
Yeah, mine's not free.
No, but the other thing, too, think of how, like, vehicles have also changed. You don't get into – it used to be, like, 5 speeds and things of that nature were fairly commonplace when you and I were growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, like
definitely.
in every kind of make and model, and you don't see that near as much nowadays. You know,
No.
I mean, everything's almost automatic or something.
Look at the school buses, semis, all that.
Everything's all automatic.
When I was growing up, it was all.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. So, how about encyclopedias?
Oh, those went by the wayside too, because you can just use Wikipedia, is it? Like,
yeah.
So when I was growing up, though, I did all of my research papers. We had I don't remember what year that set was, but it remained in our office area, and I would have to. I remember
World Book, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it World Book?
And I would have to look up. I remember doing a paper on Alexander the Great, and that's pretty much what you got, right? Whatever information was in there. And then they always said, and don't, don't use word for word. No.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can get.
How much can I scramble these words?
Yeah.
Come on.
And now, though, the amount of information that is available out there is just
Well, and
at the click of a button.
One of the stats that I read and I correct me if I'm wrong out there here because I'm probably wrong, but it's like encyclopedia was only ever like 70% accurate because you only had 100 scholars that were working on it, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at something where it's a public domain like Wikipedia where everybody can contribute.
Yeah.
It actually gets into the high 90s for really? Accuracy because you're actually taking the collective, right? Which increases the accuracy on that. So it's actually kind of neat that Wikipedia, and growing up, or I shouldn't say this isn't on the growing up side, it's probably more in college, they wouldn't let you use Wikipedia. And now I'm like, what would I use? What do you want me to use?
When I was in college, I didn't have Wikipedia.
Well,
I
that's
don't think
true.
so.
I was just at the tail of it. So, yeah.
So what about one of my favorite childhood memories that my kids will not have is the J.C. Penney's and Sears catalogs at Christmas. Actually, I liked them year round because as a child, it was fun to thumb through. We don't have those anymore either, thanks to technology and our cell phones, and now it's online shopping, and here you go.
Yeah. you know, those were absolutely at the top of a kid's list to look at during Christmas, right? Because they had the toy section, and it was fantastic.
Do you know my kids still though will get excited if there is a flyer that lands and it has the Christmas toys in it? They love it, and so I wish that they'd bring the catalogs back.
So it's actually funny. It's a little tradition at my wife's my in-laws, and we always sit down at I think it's Thanksgiving.
That's
and
before
I think that's
Christmas,
when we look at. I know, but I was trying to think. That's right before Black Friday, right? That's the day before. But we always sit down and look at the newspaper flyers, and go through and check those out, which is kind of about the closest thing you can get to a JCPenney's catalog.
It is, but I miss them.
No, there was all sorts of catalogs too.
Harriet Carter, that was all full of knick-knacky stuff.
That was all the novelty stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now it's the click of a button. Hello, Amazon, or.
Well, here, if you think about this, too. So how would you order from that catalog?
So you would have to fill it out on an order form.
A paper.
Yep, a piece of paper and a pen, and the quantity, the size, and all of that, and then send it in with a check.
A check? What's that?
Yep, that's another thing. My daughter does not use checkbooks. Everything's online, and so she pays bills online. And do you still use a checkbook?
So we have checkbooks, and there are certain things that you'll still write a check for randomly.
Yeah.
Most of the time, until now, all my banks are good now, and they'll talk to each other. But before they'd talk to each other, probably in the last few years, the most checkbooks or checks I would write were to myself to deposit into another account. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I had the mobile deposit thing on my phone, but
right.
I don't like to drive to the bank. So I would literally write a check to myself for a deposit.
I write my hairstylist. That's it. So,
it's,
at the end of the year, it's just a few checks to her. That's all I've got to record. So,
think of this on that JCPenney catalog, too. So now you have filled out a form manually with a pen and paper. You have put this into an envelope with a check. Sent it through snail mail with a stamp. Probably on a 20-cent stamp at that point in time. I don't know what they are now, but and then how long until you got your thing?
Yeah, a long time.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Maybe 3?
At least, yes.
Yeah. And now it's if Amazon is any more than 2 days, I'm calling somebody.
There was no Prime in it back then, so
I have not bought things because it says like it doesn't have 2-day shipping. I'm like, well, why would I want that?
I'm kind of guilty about that too.
Oh, it's
so
horrible.
yeah,
Spoiled.
Yeah, so maybe we should get off this Wayback Machine and come back to reality.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad thing. We probably need to jump back in the real world here. So, well, I think that was a fun conversation though.
Yeah, perfect. Let's get back to reality, and like I said, use our cell phones. I'm not giving up my cell phone, so
All right.
I miss some of these things, just not quite that much.
Well, with that, I guess we'll call it a day, and I'll go answer some emails and go send a few text messages on my phone.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and a special shout out once again to Mr. Popcorn Guy. So I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Scott. And also, I'd like to ask everybody watching, if you like the video. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell to get notified each and every time that we put out new content. And with that, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.